Well, good morning and welcome to the 1st of December. How did that happen? Well, I'm going to read a passage from Matthew's Gospel, chapter 12, verses 38 to 45. Then some of the Pharisees and teachers of the law said to him, "Teacher, we want to see a sign from you." And he answered, "A wicked and adulterous generation asks for a sign, but none will be given it except the sign of the prophet Jonah. For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of a huge fish, so the Son of Man will be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. The men of Nineveh will stand up at the judgment with this generation and condemn it, for they repented at the preaching of Jonah, and now something greater than Jonah is here. The Queen of the South will rise at the judgment with this generation and condemn it, for she came from the ends of the earth to listen to Solomon's wisdom, and now something greater than Solomon is here. When an impure spirit comes out of a person, it goes through arid places seeking rest, and it does not find it. Then it says, "I will return to the house I left." When it arrives, it finds the house unoccupied, swept clean and put in order. Then it goes and takes with it 7 other spirits more wicked than itself, and they go in and live there. And the final condition of that person is worse than the first. That is how it will be with this wicked generation. Wow, this is quite a strong warning from Jesus to the Pharisees and to the teachers of the law, but there's been quite a build-up causing Jesus to speak in this way. The Pharisees have been following Jesus and his disciples. They've criticised them for picking grain on a Sabbath because they were hungry, and they've pulled Jesus up on healing on the Sabbath. He healed, of course, a man with a shriveled hand on the Sabbath. And then we've just had this controversy about whether Jesus was in league with the devil. Jesus must have had enough of them and their constant testing. And then in this chapter, the Pharisees are continuing to test Jesus by asking for a miraculous sign as evidence as to who he is. But of course, one of their mistakes is that they want to see God working in the abnormal, whereas they fail to see how close they are to God, and they fail to see God working through Jesus continually in the very ordinary things of everyday life around them. Jesus is saying, you might ask for a sign, but you fail to recognize me. I am God's sign. And Jesus goes on to remind the Pharisees that the Ninevites eventually recognized God's warning through Jonah, and the Queen of Sheba, she recognized God's wisdom through King Solomon. But here Jesus is in front of them, around them, constantly demonstrating God's hand and God's mind in everything he says and does. Jesus is, of course, far greater than both Jonah and King Solomon, and yet the Pharisees are too spiritually lacking to notice and to realize. So if we come back to this idea of Jesus working in and through the very ordinary and everyday, I wonder, do we notice Jesus in our ordinary day? It's a great exercise to spend the day and then to get in the habit of spending every day, if we remember, to look out for and to notice Jesus working in the everyday occurrences around us. His love and compassion working through very ordinary people doing very ordinary things. And it reminds me of Ignatian spirituality, of which one of the basic principles are noticing and looking for the work of God in all things and all people around us. In my encounters with residents and family members in the nursing homes, I'm so often struck by the power of love expressed in so many ways. The power of love expressed in relationships, in conversations, in the very ordinary detail of loving and caring for one another. And it's such a beautiful thing to intentionally look for Jesus working through the people around us that we meet in our ordinary and everyday life. Have a great day.